Imagine it's a beautiful day. You have your plane ticket in hand and you're waiting to be seated. As you pass through the jet bridge, you find your seat. You buckle up and you're ready to start the vacation of your dreams. The plane taxis to the runway and it takes off. You've had a smooth flight and you land at your airport in record time. Sounds amazing, right? Have you ever taken a moment to actually think about the process of how you got from point A to point B? With COVID restrictions lifting and traveling now spiking, I'm thrilled to share some insight on the intricacies of air travel. There is more than one agency that a pilot talks to in order to get to their destination. Having over 10 years of air traffic control experience, I've accumulated knowledge of just how in-depth and precise air traffic can really be. I hope to offer some insight that better helps you understand just how neat the system really can be. Multiple agencies speak with pilots depending on the altitude and the route of the aircraft. So, flying right into my next point. There are two major categories of agencies that deal with aircraft. You have terminal control facilities, and then you have arrival and departure control. Towers are responsible for taxiing aircraft on the ground, clearing them for takeoff, and as well to land, and ensure separation of aircraft that are on final and within the traffic pattern. To better help understand what I mean by this, I've drawn a diagram of Omaha's airfield, which is two parallel runways and one intersecting runway. You have multiple aircraft, right? You have an aircraft on final, an aircraft that is on downwind, and you have an aircraft that is departing the intersecting runway. Tower's responsibility is to ensure that there is separation between all of these aircraft simultaneously. Arrival departure control, on the other hand, are responsible for aircraft that have departed within 1 mile of the runway, and these aircraft are vectored in and out of airports. Aircraft will stay with arrival and departure control until a necessary altitude is established, and then will be handed off to the next agency. A clearance with arrival departure control would sound something like this. Cessna 9 Sierra Papa, turn left, heading 270 to intercept the localizer, cleared ILS runway 24 into Polymer, maintain 2,500 feet until established. Lastly, we have en route, which is mostly called center in the controller's term, and this is the facility that takes care of higher altitude aircraft that are at cruising speed. They are comprised of different sectors, and when aircraft are traveling long distances, we'll talk to more than one sector, and then will be handed back off to arrival departure control. You can reference this all in the Joint Order 7110.65. Now that you better understand what responsibility each facility has, let's clear ourselves right into the next airspace. What a typical day looks like for each facility is very different. Tower controllers typically have two positions that they fill. They have ground control and local control. Local control will clear aircraft for takeoff, landing, and they'll taxi them on and off the movement area. They will also ensure separation between local flights and arriving and departing aircraft. Ground control taxis aircraft on the ground, and they are responsible for taxiing aircraft from the gate into the runway and vice versa. They'll also file flight plans and issue weather information to aircraft prior to departure. Arrival and departure control have a heavier workload as they're vectoring in and out of aircraft into various airports and ensuring aircraft do not hit each other while they're ascending or descending. En route controllers or center controllers will have an important task to ensure that aircraft who are cruising at an altitude do not have any issues with turbulence, weather, or any other phenomena. And they have a much heavier workload as they're dealing with multiple aircraft descending and climbing at various altitudes simultaneously. You can reference this in the National Airspace System of the United States Department of Transportation. Now that you know what a comprehensive task controllers have, let's head right into the landing. There are several different agencies that control aircraft on the routes to airport. There are two major groups of agencies that take care of aircraft with subgroups within. So next time you're boarding your plane, know that there are several people keeping you, your family, and your friends safe within the skies.